and welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with the host, Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by Danny Snow and Trevor Schade. Welcome to the show, guests.
Thanks, Julian.
Right. Thanks for having us.
All right, we were having a bit of a fun chat while we were setting up, so we're all best buds now. And we're going to load up the board, and we're going to play Jeopardy, then we're going to meet our fantastic guests. All right, the categories today. There's no TV sitcoms. Was it Trevor or Danny that was hoping for that?
That was me that was hoping for that, but I don't know. I don't like my chances here now.
Yes. Well, we've got parrots, mythology, the animal kingdom, travel and tourism, hodgepodge, which is a mixed bag, and mammals. I think mammals would be easy. All right. Who's going to kick things off? On the left, Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor, go for it.
All right. I've got to know. Mythology for 100.
Mythology for 100, says Trevor. In Norse mythology, sisters known as the Norns represent the past, the present, and this.
What are the oracles?
Sorry, what was that?
What are the oracles?
Well, we just need to know what it is. The third
oracles.
thing. What is it? Is it the past, the present, and the
that's the future.
future?
And
yeah.
this.
This is a $100
sorry.
question. They're not asking for anything too strenuous.
No, that's all right. I was diving into like the Jeopardy style. I didn't know I could fill in the blank. I was trying to follow the rules, and I don't do well at that, Julian.
Yeah. Well, you got it right, and
right.
you're in control. What would you like, Trevor?
All right. Well, let's just stick with mythology 200.
Mythology 200. The Arabian wilderness was home to this bird that was reborn from its own ashes.
Phoenix.
Phoenix. It rose like a phoenix, as they say.
Yeah.
Well done,
Right,
Trevor.
thank you. Yeah, thank you, Harry Potter. Mythology 300.
Mythology 300. With Athena's help, Epius built this object in which the Greeks hid.
Oh,
A
I'm
horse.
buzzing into, or does Trevor get
You
it?
can jump in if you got it.
Okay. Is that the Trojan horse there?
Trojan horse. Isn't it also a well-known brand of prophylactic?
I think you're right.
I believe so.
You're in control now, Danny.
I'm guessing the animal kingdom, is that going to be Disney's park? Because then I like my chances here.
Well, yeah, there'll be a few Disney animals in there.
Let's see. Let's go to animal kingdom for 100.
Animal Kingdom 100. Species of this animal include the American black, spectacled, and polar.
American black.
I'd go with bear.
That's
Yeah,
it, man.
that's
You
a
just
good
got to
one.
jump in there
Yeah.
if you know it. That's correct.
All right.
Well done, Trevor.
All right. Let's do Animal Kingdom 200.
Animal Kingdom 200. Of living birds, its eggs are the largest, weighing about 3 pounds on the average.
The ostrich.
Ostrich is correct. I thought it might be an emu, but the old ostrich had it. Well done, Danny.
That's the safari ride at Animal Kingdom paying
There
off
you
right
go,
there.
the Disney
All right.
stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's stay at Animal Kingdom. Let's go for 300.
Animal Kingdom 300. The June bug, a type of this insect, is related to the scarab of ancient Egypt. A type of this insect. A scarab?
Go with beetle.
Beetle,
Yeah,
of
probably a good
course.
Yep.
Trevor. Phenomenal.
All right. Let's do parrots for 100.
Parrots for 100. The parrot's anatomical feature described as zygodactyl, part faces forward, part back. Nobody?
I don't
No.
know. I don't think.
I
got
think
that
it's the
one at all.
headgear.
Yeah.
Some of them have the,
Yeah.
the cockatoos stuff.
Uh-huh.
Cockatoos are parrots, I think. Let's take a look. It is the feet or the claws. No, I don't know what I'm talking about as usual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Danny. Was it Danny or Trevor? Who's in control?
That was Trevor that had that last
Trevor,
one.
go
Yeah, I
again.
chose parrots. All right. Let's do. We're gonna go random here. Let's do travel and tourism 300.
Travel and Tourism 300 attractions in this European capital include Amalienborg Palace and the New Carlsberg Museum. Okay, Carlsberg, do you know the beer?
Yeah.
Do you know where
Beer.
that's from?
I mean, I'd go with South Africa if I had to take a guess, but I don't actually know.
Okay. Well, we're looking for a European capital.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Didn't
and it's a
read the
capital.
question. Oh, capital.
Do you know, if you know where the beer's from, that's the only, I have no idea if I'm correct, but I know where the Carlsberg beer's from, and I'm going with that.
Is that Belgium?
Close. But the Belgian
That was a
one
good
is
guess,
called
though, Danny.
something
I like
else.
that.
I think it's Copenhagen.
Yeah,
Let's take a look. Copenhagen is correct, Julian.
Yeah, okay,
Well done.
very nice. Yeah.
All right. That's my beer knowledge there. Continuing on. Trevor.
Let's go back to the Animal Kingdom 400. That feels a little safer.
Animal Kingdom 400. Baiting these burrowing weasel relatives was once a favourite European sport, particularly amongst rich royals.
Badger.
Badgers. That's a very good answer. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Badger is correct. Well done, Trevor.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do Animal Kingdom 500.
Animal Kingdom 500. This fish lives in rivers before travelling up to 3,500 miles to the Sargasso Sea to lay eggs. There's only one that does that I know of.
How about a salmon?
That sounds good to me. And the bears sit there waiting with their baseball mitts. No, it's an eel. See? I told you I'm
I would have said salmon too.
Yeah, yeah.
That was-
Right? That's the only thing I know.
Eels get up there.
Goes
Yeah.
up the rivers. Man.
A
Okay.
bit hard to catch for the bears, the eels.
Well, and I guess salmon doesn't go to the sea. Maybe that's salt water.
See, if we were biology people, we might have known that one.
That's right. That's right.
Well.
All right. Mythology 400.
Mythology 400. Orthrus, a two-headed dog who guarded the cattle of Geryon, was the brother of this Hades hound.
Cerberus?
Cerberus. Now, did you say something about Harry Potter before?
I did.
That was
I mentioned
Trevor.
it.
No,
Yeah,
Because there
I
was
did, but
Hades
here we-
hounds in Harry Potter, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cerberus.
Yeah,
Let's take a
guarding,
look. Well done.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
I thought Cerberus was like a software thing, but probably that's where
It probably is.
they get all their
Yeah,
names
they're
from
prob-
these things, don't they? Yeah. Well done
Let's
there.
close out mythology. Yeah,
Mythology
let's do the
again?
500 on mythology.
500. Okay. The Maenads were frenzied followers of this god of wine and vegetation.
No clue.
Boy, there's some viewer out here just screaming to answer.
Oh, yeah.
They know wine and vegetation.
Well, I know the wine god. I know the wine god.
I think I know that
Hey,
one
how
too.
come I know all the booze questions? What's going on?
I know.
Typical Australian drunk. I think it's Amy's. No, it's not.
right.
All right. It is Dionysus. Dionysus.
Okay.
So that one was Greek, I think, which is a different one. What would you like next?
Let's do travel and tourism for 100.
Travel and Tourism 100. Let's get something easy. A popular tourist stop in this state is National Bridge in Daniel Boone National Forest. Daniel Boone was a man.
I don't know where Daniel Boone National Forest is.
I thought it might be around Nebraska. I don't know.
It probably is. I know. I've probably got people that are just going crazy right now.
Or Wyoming or something. Or let's take a look.
Yeah.
Kentucky.
In Kentucky.
Daniel
Okay.
Boone.
Down
All
in
right.
Kentucky.
Let's stay there. Let's do 200.
200 Travel and Tourism. A 2-mile stone bridge crossing an Adriatic lagoon connects this Italian city with the mainland. Don't ever go against the family. No, I don't know if that's it. That's the only island I can think of. Oh, hang on a minute. Which is the Italian city with all the canals? That could be another clue. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you got there, Trevor?
Oh, I mean, I can see it from the Italian Job movie. That's where my brain wants to go. I told you I would do well if there was a movie category.
Yeah. We're
Um,
not coming off too good here.
Nope. And I know I'm going to know it when I hear it because I can see, I hear the stories about it sinking, and I see there's a James Bond film again that had the balloons lifting the construction.
Yeah.
But boy, I'm not pulling it this morning. Need a little more caffeine.
Yeah. Well,
Let's take a look. It is Venice.
There it is. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the water.
Yeah.
But, we were clutching at straws, really, I was.
Man, but you were right. That was the one, and I was trying to think of, but it just was not coming to me this morning.
Well,
Danny, what would you
away
like?
From travel and tour. Let's do hodgepodge for 100.
Hodgepodge for 100 in heraldry, whatever that is. A wyvern is one of these mythical beasts depicted with 2 legs, wings, and a barbed tail.
How about a fae?
A fae. A dragon is what we were looking for.
Oh, a dragon. Okay.
Is a fae one of those little kind of half deer people? No, or maybe.
Well, I think fae would be just a very large category of a whole lot of mythical
a
creatures.
whole lot of mythological. Very interesting category. But fortunately, we didn't know that one. What would you like next,
No.
Denny?
Let's try hodgepodge for 200.
Hodgepodge 200. Kellogg introduced these toaster pastries in 1964.
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, and Jerry Seinfeld made a movie that nobody saw about it.
I haven't seen it. Love Jerry Seinfeld. Never saw it.
Me too. Yeah. I just was thinking, really? Pop-Tarts? Why, Jerry?
I know.
All right.
Continue on. 300.
Hodgepodge 300. Mercury and aneroid are the 2 main types of this instrument used to measure air pressure.
Tire gauge. No.
Gauge.
No, that is not it. I got the new one.
What are those?
Can I switch my answer?
Yes, you can.
Temperature there?
All right, I want to go thermometer.
Thermometer.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with barometer.
Ooh.
Julian, people are going to think I've seen the answers because I uploaded them, but I can assure you I did not, unless it was subconsciously. Danny.
All right. Travel and tourism for 400.
Travel and tourism 400. Lodgings in this capital city include the Hotel de L'Annapurna and the Hotel Himalaya. What city?
I know the Himalayan mountains there, but
It's got to be in Nepal, and there's 2 cities that I can think of in Nepal. One starts with a T, one starts with a K. I don't know which one it is.
Kuala Lumpur, is that one? Is that there?
That's a bit closer to Malaysia, that one.
Yeah.
So hang on. Yeah, Kathmandu was the one we were looking for.
Yeah.
Is Tibet in Nepal, or is Nepal in Tibet? Do we know?
I'll have to look that one up. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at us. Boy,
Yeah,
there are
why
people
am I
just
asking
screaming
you?
right now.
That's what I don't know either. That's where the Dalai Lama.
I thought Tibet was in Nepal.
So did I. Maybe it's the
Well,
city.
I
Free
don't know.
But then they say free Tibet, like it's a country that China took hold of. Who knows? We're never going to read up about this. I'm glued to the watching the tariff debate. That's all I care about. What would you like next?
What's
Snowy
the one on the far right?
is mammals.
Mammals, that's right. Let's do mammals for 100.
Do you know if you came to Australia that you would never get called Danny, you would get called Snowy? Does anybody call you Snowy in America?
They do not. I used to be called Snow White a lot when I was a kid, so that was fun. But never Snowy. Yeah.
And Trevor, do you know what you would be called in Australia?
It's got to be Shady.
Trev. That's it.
Trev? That's
Nobody
it?
would
Okay, I can
ever
live with
say
that.
the extra syllable.
Okay.
We ain't got time for that. It's too hot.
Yeah, I could live with that. That works.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what we're looking for, both African and Indian species of this mammal undergo periods of odd behavior called musth.
Elephants?
Elephants, yeah. Have you ever seen this? And they get all this oil dripping down the side of their head. And if you go near them, if you see that oil, you've got to stay away because they're like horny and aggressive and they will just destroy anything they see, including females.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Snowy. You're in control still.
Trevor got that one. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Trevor, sorry.
Yeah,
Trev, I mean. Yep.
That's all right. No worries. Well, we're going to stick in the 200 zone because we keep embarrassing ourselves as soon as we cross into the 400. So,
You found your limit.
Let's do mammals. I do. Yeah, like 300's touch and go, and everything beyond that, it's a less entertaining show for folks. Mammals 200. Let's do
Mammals 200. Collisions with boats are the largest identifiable cause of death of these gentle Florida sea cows.
Manatees.
Oh, was that you, Danny?
Manatee. Yeah,
Manatees
that's me.
is correct.
Yeah.
He's our Floridian.
I
That
thought
was-
it was.
yeah.
I thought it was old retiree ladies they were talking about.
That's the next one.
That
Yeah.
that was a
That's
rim.
the-
That was
that's
another rim shot
That's
for me.
That's Nebraska, Julian. That's Nebraska.
Oh, okay,
Florida.
sorry, Florida. All right, Danny, what would you like?
Let's stay there at 300.
300 mammals in Sumatra, which is a bit closer to Kuala Lumpur that you talked about before. In Sumatra, they call this tree-dwelling ape moas. But that's just their traditional name. We call it something else. And they are very amusing. And they seem to have red hair.
Orangutan.
Orangutan is what we're looking for.
All right.
Well done. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved seeing them at the zoo, and they always they call out to you and get you. They want you to throw stuff in, but you're not allowed to, unfortunately. Trevor, what would you like?
Oh, let's see, Julian. Danny, let's give it a go. Let's dive into a 400. Mammals
Oh, boy.
400.
Mammals
Yeah.
400. Look out! Though these earth pigs eat ants, strictly speaking, they are not ant eaters.
Is that an aardvark?
Oh.
Hey, great answer, man. I have no
That
idea.
was it.
Aardvark is correct. So are they saying they're related to pigs and not anteaters, even though they do eat ants? Well done.
Yeah, very
Right,
nice.
got a
Trevor.
400. How about that? Oh, let's finish it off. Mammals 500.
Mammals 500. The fossa, a type of civet, is the dominant carnivore of this African island, the world's 4th largest.
Madagascar.
So we just want the island. Well done. That is what we're looking for. Correct.
Wow.
Well done.
Very
What's the
nice.
other thing they had on Madagascar? Dodo birds. Is that right?
I'm not sure. All I know is anything that they depicted in the cartoon.
Yeah, King
The
Julian and
DreamWorks.
all
I
that.
told you.
I
Right,
haven't
I
seen
told
that
you.
in a long time. That was
I haven't either, but I'm telling you, movies was my category.
that
So
was it.
Well,
Yeah.
they help you in
100%.
strange ways.
Yeah.
that's 100% where that answer came from. All right, Hodgepodge 400.
Hodgepodge 400. Members of this church are popularly called Moonies. It's a strange Korean sect, or I don't know if it's a cult. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. We don't know this one.
No.
The answer is
Nope.
Unification Church.
Ah. Oh yeah.
All right, we're going to let those 500s linger. Let's do parrots for 200.
Parrots for 200. Experts say seeds from this Kansas state flower should make up no more than 60% of a parrot's diet. What's a Kansas?
Sunflower.
Sunflower is correct. Well done. Now, how did you know that one? What movie?
That one was not a movie. That one's because I do live just north of that state, and so I've driven through and seen their
Okay.
highway road signs have a sunflower on them.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go. No, well, the other question is, why can't the parrots eat too many of them? Maybe they get too fat.
Yeah.
Well-
Let's work our way down. Parrots 300.
Parrots 300, known for its mimicry, one of the most popular parrots is the grey from this continent. It's also the most intelligent bird on the planet.
Is it? Yeah.
The African...
What? Is it the macaw?
Oh, I've given away the
Oh,
answer.
Africa.
Yeah,
Africa.
I've given
yeah,
it
'cause
away.
we
It's
needed
the
a
African
continent.
grey parrot, and I just,
Okay.
like a total
Parrot.
klutz, said the African. Anyway, you still in
All right,
control?
well, yep, parrot's 400. We're gonna get rid of this category.
Parrot's
This is-
400. The rare kakapo parrot of New Zealand is distinct in being unable to do this.
Fly.
Well,
Fly. Good answer. Yes, they are these little tiny things, and they just trot around the ground. And I just think if my Jack Russell saw that, there would be no more kakapos. Anyway, continuing on, Trevor.
All right. Yep. Parrot's 500.
Parrot's
Let's knock
500.
that
This
one out.
parrot's name might be from the macabre, a tree whose fruit it eats. What type of parrot sounds like that tree?
Oh, macaw.
Macaw?
Trevor just got in there early. Is that from the Rio movie?
Definitely.
Macaw is correct. We've got 2 questions left. Travel and tourism 500, hodgepodge 500.
Oh, let's do travel and tourism.
Travel and tourism. A state park in Columbus. In this state... What? A state park in Columbus in this state is named for Pancho Villa.
Ohio?
Okay. New Mexico.
Wow.
So... Is
Columbus,
New
New
Mexico? What is there a Columbus is in Ohio? Is there a Columbus in New Mexico? I don't get this question.
I
I
guess.
guess.
Yeah.
It's one of those dumb trick questions where there's another
Yeah.
name like Moscow, or what is it? Is it Moscow, Florida, or St. Petersburg, Florida?
Not that, but I know then there's like a Paris and Texas.
Yeah,
and,
all that stuff.
Yeah, there's some
There's
of
a
those,
Melbourne
yeah.
in Florida as well.
Yeah.
All right, last question. The fish called the Dolly Varden trout was named for a character in this author's Barnaby Rudge. This is a very obscure literary question. We've never heard of it. The answer is Charles Dickens. I could have maybe kept it going for a bit because it's a pretty popular author. Well, that's what gets up there at the end of the game. Trevor on 3,400 has won. Danny on 1,300. Well played. Very interesting.
Yep.
You got
Well done.
several questions correct, contrary to predictions.
Yeah, about 50% of them, I think, is where our ratio
Yeah.
lies. Danny?
Yeah.
Well done. All right. Well, as you won, Trevor, you can kick things off. Tell us about what you're up to.
Sure. Yeah, I run a whole series of companies and have since I was really young. And now I've moved into doing business consulting and strategy and thought process. I've got a bit of a nature to zoom way out into being able to talk the granular, but then also the high level, and that allows me to connect the how to, and rather than just come up with philosophies. I put together programs and walk people through what are their actual needs, what are their wants, helping them start at the end where it's what's our end goal, and then backtracking, and we can go through technology, outsourcing, automation. I mean, I've had people in about 2-3 different countries working for me for about 7 years, and small startups. So anything from a small startup like I've been up and through large corporate teams and culture creation. My business consulting and consultation services are pretty customized to each person and what they need and what they're wanting to grow. And if they really want their time back, is where we typically end up going, because most operators they live and breathe every bit of it. And
you've done a lot of training in the Six Sigma approach, which is a very well regarded business consultancy philosophy. tell us a bit about that and why everyone raves about it.
Yeah. Six Sigma. It's really to break it down simply, and this answer will also show what I often do. You can get really detailed, really complex, and really dive into these speak over someone's head technicalities. But in reality, Six Sigma, it's how is a process supposed to work? How often does your process work that way versus how often does it not? And when it does fail to work, how far off from what it's supposed to do does it deviate? And
that's a great explanation.
Simple, right? Like that's really all it is. Now, the thing I've learned with Six Sigma is it really does take an outrageous amount of data to use a lot of the tools. So most of the time I will get started with folks using some of the lean principles and the 9 kinds of waste or 10 kinds of waste, depending on what system we use. And that usually lets us get into efficiencies really quickly and just execute and start changing their world and changing their day to day. One of the components that I really dive into quickly is asking someone what really bothers them and what really irritates them or what's really daunting. And that's probably going to be the first thing that we attack, because they're probably spending more time dreading it and recovering from it than actually doing the task. And so if we use the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. If we will just automate or outsource that 20%, all of a sudden we give them 80% of their mental bandwidth back, and they can go be their creative self in their business, and they get to start taking their life back.
That's awesome. So basically, there's something in the business that is supposed to be operating a certain way. It's not. Let's find out what that is, and then you're offering a proposal where a solution is to outsource that part that they hate doing. And what types of processes work for outsourcing, and what types of businesses is this a good solution for?
Yeah, I definitely will relate the quickest to businesses that have anywhere from probably 3 to 5 type employees, like a startup type system or service, and take that all the way up to about 150 employees and staff size. That range of business seems to be able to implement and have the most results the quickest. Now, if a company or a department is that same size, then this works. What I do works very well for them as well on a department level. If we're going to go full corporate size and structure, we'd have to use some different tools and do a few more forums altogether, if you will. But I would say any business that is being run and operated, and everybody and people are feeling like their hair is on fire a bit, and then it's anything they can do just to hang on, and they have too few of resources and people for the amount of work being done. That's who fits what I implement in their company and solve for in what's driving them mad.
And the one big important thing is people want to have a way of measuring outcomes. How do you show that?
Yeah. We really, I will customize the definition of success in our partnership and in our consultation services. I'll really be I'll recreate that each time with each company and with each customer, because we really need to get to the root of what they want and what they need first. And then we'll talk about, well, what does that need to change to? Do we need to completely eliminate this from your processes and free up that time holistically? Because we certainly don't want to take the time to automate or outsource something that should just be gotten rid of. And so we will come up with a set of criteria to know when we've actually met success. Is it some kind of a measure on your gross revenue? Is it number of staff? Is it an increase to a department and an addition of a new service, but with the same number of people in the office. I've been through many different designs of this, but the call it success, we've arrived moment, that will be very custom to what the person needs in their company.
Yeah, and the outsourcing thing, there's a lot of people with businesses that it's just not even thought about as an option. But what I've noticed more and more is there are more and more people who are taking all of the individual problems and processes in businesses and specializing in them. And, you know, there are just so many options for things that can be now outsourced. And, you know, it's just creates so much agility in a business where you basically get rid of this hot mess that's in the business and you go, these guys are going to take care of that. This is how much it's going to cost. Boom, and it's done. And then you can sort of focus on having that kind of, what do they say, 10,000 square foot aerial view of the business. Yeah. And you can start working on all the other stuff. Do you find that a big part of the battle is, well, it's just introducing this concept of outsourcing to businesses that have never even thought of it?
Yeah, and I think what I think you nailed it. A lot of folks don't realize what's possible. So one of the very first things that on the outsourcing front that I help people do is I tell people, I need you to log on, and I'll give them a couple different websites of where they can find freelancers that also have some sort of a rating system that checks and balances that person's quality, because now their income is dependent on producing good work. So I like those designs. And I've told them, I need you to order flowers for yourself if need be. I need you to go on here. I need you to hire somebody, and I need you to have them order you flowers. It's so simple. It's so easy. It's so dumb. But all of a sudden, somebody can realize I can have somebody do the most mundane anythings, and I just need to find a virtual assistant that can do it. And then we really pivot a lot into, it's very intimidating. My background was, I was writing computer code since I was in 5th grade, and I self-taught a few different coding systems and then studied a couple in college. And as I went through this, I realized I could set up automated processes with APIs and all of these techie world things. And that is incredibly intimidating. And so that's one of the very first things that we usually end up doing is, if someone's not going to take on all of that crazy extra education to learn the technology side of it, they don't need to, and nor should they most of the time. We dive into, let's start hiring your freelancers to set up the automations. If we're going to automate and we're going to outsource, well, let's go get that person first. And now you don't even have to be the one that does all of that. And so those are the pieces that we step into usually first. Yes.
Yeah, I get it. And it's like a lot of people know that they need to get all of this stuff, these automations and these API things all set up, but it can be extremely frustrating. And I'm not like a complete boomer with technology, but I mean, I know my way around enough to do a lot of it, and I do a lot of it myself, but it literally can become a real PITA. And whereas when I hire somebody to do it, it's just like bing, bang, bong, done. And it's like, far out, that was awesome. So you know, and these systems that you can get running, all of these automations, you can have all your marketing taken care of going out. You can know where people are in sales funnels, and you can see it all, and you can have it all. And really, I think people need somebody like what you're doing, is just bridging that gap and just making it happen is just a huge just time reliever and stress reliever. And getting it all happening.
And so one of the businesses that I ran for years, I've been in real estate investing, and then it turned into teaching real estate investing and investing strategies. Well, that ended up, I ran an organization of real estate agents. So paint the picture in your head of a stereotype salesperson. and now we're talking about computer coding. Those two don't go together very often. And so I had systems set up to where somebody would be on call. I'd have multiple agents on call, and an inquiry would come in off of our website, and it would get automatically put into a lead distribution system, texted to both of them. Whichever one of them clicked the link to claim the lead first, it provided them with the contact information for that lead, and it blockaded the other one. That claiming process kicked into another system, automatically prepped an email and sent it from that person with their custom information and their signature on the email, and it looked like it came from them, and it said what questions can I answer for you, and that then transferred into their CRM separately, which I had tethered into their contacts in their phone. And so while they're typing a text message to do this initial follow-up, they would watch the phone number at the top switch to a name all automatically, and all of these systems kicked off on their own.
Yeah, phenomenal. I love all that stuff, and salespeople love all of that stuff when it just works like that. And like I say, you know that you're not going to get them to connect it all up or even know what software to use or anything. So, so do you work a lot with sales type organizations or not necessarily?
Yeah, I would say I do. I work with a lot of sales organizations. I've had some folks. One of the courses that I put together is on opening any door your way, and it's influence. It's really it's how to appeal to others so that a door will open and flow. And I've had nursing staff want to know, how do you deliver bad news and have people get on board with taking their prescriptions. So there's a sales component to everything. I went and spoke with a group of CEOs in Dallas, Texas, about how their companies that were either shut down or converted or acquired, and the CEOs and CFOs were now trying to get a job, and they were incredible at everything that they did and that they knew how to do and function when they were in their job. But going through the interview process or getting their foot in the door, that side of it was quite difficult and new and a different facet. And so I came in and I helped teach that group a different way to look at it. And so anything that has that influencing twist, I would say, is where I thrive the most, and I'm able to help those organizations grow the most, the fastest, implement the quickest. So many of those absolutely are some form of a sales organization or a sales department.
It's interesting, Trevor, because not many software people understand sales. It's like it's two parts of the brain. So you've bridged the gap there. You started in software and you understand how to relay messages in a way that's going to get the best possible result. It's a bit of a superpower, Trevor.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's honestly, it's something that I've struggled to come across anyone else that I can even bounce some ideas off of, and I really have to compartmentalize it, because you're right. All of my techie friends from the past where we wrote code, they definitely aren't public speakers. And then the dynamic sales folks and influencers, they really struggle in the technology sector and the automation and having their time rather than just 4,000 sticky notes all over their desk. And so to be able to speak both languages and help both groups come a little more center on that, it's really enjoyable.
That's the key to it, really. So if you're out there and you need somebody that can basically almost be bilingual in that area where which I could see a lot of people needing, have a chat to Trevor. He understands what you're trying to do, or what any business is trying to do, and he understands how to implement it, which is rare. And a lot of the time, if I'm speaking to tech people, they just don't understand. They don't fill in the blanks of what I'm trying to do. So when you get somebody that understands both sides of the coin, it just makes it so much easier. So I think you'll enjoy that. And how do people reach out to you, Trevor?
Yeah, they can reach out. They can go to trevorschade.com. So TrevorSchade, trevorschade.com. And on there, I've got every one of my socials. I've got, you can book through my Calendly right there. You can Google me. Since I've been in the real estate sector, all of my contact information is far from private, and you can send me a message. I've got my LinkedIn on there if you want my email addresses, and I've got my Life Wealth courses, coaching businesses on the starting point, trevorschade.com, and any way you prefer, I'm connectable.
Yeah, check that out. So the link's in the show notes, trevorschade.com. There's a lot to have a look at. He's got a ton of content on there. As he said, a lot of courses and stuff as well. So I always like to go check out some of those, and makes me more inclined to call somebody, I find. Yeah, well, thank you very much, Trevor Schade. Very interesting, I thought.
Thanks, Julian. I appreciate it.
All right. Bit of canned applause there. All right, let's pop over the ditch, as they say. And Danny Snow. Now, something that you said immediately I agreed with was the customer's not always right. Tell us a bit about what you've been up to in Orlando.
Yeah. So I grew up here in Orlando, grew up going to Disney World. Everybody in my family worked out at the park. So our whole focus has always been on the customer experience and how can you really differentiate your business from all the other options that your customers have out there. And I love listening to Trevor there too. And really so many focus so much on the sales part. They put so much effort into it that then they finally get a customer to come to their office or their car dealership or come to visit a house, but then the customer experience element is very often missing. So I love that, Trevor, you really made that, when you're talking about the real estate part, there was that immediate contact. They were able to reach out and touch base right away, because so often it's somebody will be in touch with you within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And maybe you hear from them, maybe you don't, but by that time you've already called 5 other agencies looking for some help there. And so very often it's the first person that reaches out that gets the business. And so our whole focus is really teaching. Now we've actually got somebody here. We've got them on property interested in us. How do we keep them? How do we want them to come back again? And it's like the page that you've got up for me there, Julian, that is a customer experience mapping. And so we love to look at any process that a company ultimately wants to get better at. And we're going to look at it every single step of the way through the lens of the customer. So it's the customer's placing the call to the office, or the customer's walking up to the physical location, transferring between departments, whatever it is. And then we're figuring out, okay, what would a mediocre experience look like at this step? And then what would an excellent experience look like or sound like at this step? And how can we really get as close as possible to that with our customers at every single touch point?
Before we go into that, let's just mention about how important customer experience is. So this is, businesses like Amazon, the reason Amazon is so big is that it is such an exceptional customer experience. And my wife was always buying stuff on Amazon. I'd never used it. I was still on the old eBay type of thing. And then I was working on a car or something, and I needed something, and I was like, I ordered it, and this dude rocks up the next morning and gives it to me, and I was absolutely blown away. Like, I'm always the last to know about these things, and then I thought, okay, this is why Jeff Bezos is Jeff Bezos, and it makes businesses. So, How do we measure it, first of all, Danny? How do we find out what the customer is experiencing?
Well, surveying them, asking them. I mean, there's plenty of options there. I mean, if you're just talking to your customers and asking them, they're going to tell you, especially if it was a bad experience. You can monitor all your social media, monitor Yelp, all of that. There's so much information out there that's going to tell you the areas that you're falling short in, and just in general, what customers are frustrated about. And so, Amazon, I mean, they're all about the customer experiences as easy as possible. And my wife, she's got packages showing up here, daily from Amazon, because it's so easy. And, you got tons of choices out there. And you think of places like Disney World, where you got thrill rides you can go on. I mean, so we're right here in Orlando. So you got Disney, you've got Universal Studios, you've got SeaWorld. all within a few miles of each other. And some of these rides at these other parks are phenomenal. Yeah, they're better than the rides that they have out at Disney. But when you start to look at the overall experience, every single thing that happens once that ride is over, because in a lot of the other parks, once the thrill is over of that ride, there's not a whole lot that kind of keeps you connected to it. And Amazon, you know, they follow up, they stay in touch, making sure you're okay with your order. If you need to return it, it's so simple to do it. They make every single touch point as easy as possible. And, you know, they're worth however many, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars. So it becomes a little bit easier for some of these companies to do this. But even smaller companies, when you start to think about how can we just enhance the little things that we're already doing, you know, like Disney bus drivers, they hold Disney trivia contests on the bus rides back, or they get kids singing along to the different Disney songs, or Southwest flight attendants having fun with the safety spiel before they take off. You know, all these things that these companies, the employees have to do, and they're already doing them. But now they're just finding those little ways to really enhance what they're doing. And those are the areas that really help to stand out of people's minds, you know, and I think that's what a lot of companies can take away from is what are those small elements that don't cost us anything extra, but just leave our customer a little bit better off than they were before they came to us.
Have you seen any data that sort of indicates how much, you know, referral business you get or repeat business you get once you give people a higher rate of satisfaction going through your sales process?
I don't have any specific data on it, but anything that you would search would find that obviously the better experience you deliver, the more likely people are going to come back to see you again. Because I know you probably, like me, you've got multiple restaurants that you know. For us, it's sushi. We love sushi restaurants, and there's a ton of sushi restaurants very close to us. We'll drive to the farthest one out there because it's the best one that we find with that experience. The dentist I've gone to for years, drive 20 miles to get to his office, even though there's plenty that are right next to it. So when you start to just look at your own life and your own way that you approach things, you start to see how common that is, that experience element does make you want to come back time and time again. And maybe you don't do it every time, because sometimes you just need to do something quick.
Yeah.
But more often than not, you're going to go back to the place that you know is going to get it right when you need them to.
You know, and what I've noticed myself in my own business is that when they see you making the effort to not just sell them, but then to make sure that they're happy with what they're getting, is there anything they're not happy about, and then you're making an effort to fix that, and basically, you know, even if it's completely automated, and then, you know, and I don't even know, I'm not talking to them, but at the end of the day, they're like, oh yeah, thanks for all that, and I go, oh yeah, that's all my automatic email sequence. Yeah, no worries. You know, and they are so much happier. And then you don't, you know, you just get, I mean, happy customers is what it's all about. And especially with all the, like you talk about Yelp and everything, if you start getting bad reviews, you know, it's bad news.
Yeah, absolutely. And the automation, everything, you know, sometimes I think we over rely on some of it, but just having those extra touch points where it's the thank you afterwards, or a month down the road, just a follow up, just to check in, because most don't do that. And so sometimes when you get almost what seems like the basics that everybody you think should be doing, when you do get that, it feels like, all right, this company, you know, they actually do pay attention. They actually care. And they set up the time to go through and do it. And so, I mean, I love it. That's what we're all about, is finding those little ways to really stand out from the rest that are kind of just going through the motions and doing the very bare minimum.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to deliver an exceptional result in a customer's eyes, because like you said, most people don't, and you know, most people are doing fine with their business or whatever, but just tweaking a couple of things here and there, and it just makes a world of difference. What types of businesses do you mostly work with?
So banking and healthcare have always been our two biggest industries, you know, and we try to speak at as many conferences as we can. And so looking at association events are always good ones for us. But, you Healthcare was one that we always found that everybody could use some work, but the healthcare industry was definitely one that
they'll be all scrambling to call you up after the Luigi thing.
Yeah, geez, yeah. I know that was just ridiculous.
That's an example. I mean, obviously, people were not happy, and there's a lot of sentiment out there. You don't want to just have that sentiment out there and not do anything about it or not change it. What do you do with banking? Right. Like, how do you improve that for people?
Well, we have so much now just with online banking. It makes it so easy there. So obviously you want your processes on the online part to be as customer friendly as well. But again, there's so many choices out there. So when they are actually coming into the branch there, are we getting a greeting? Obviously, we want to make sure that the offerings that we're providing for them, we're managing their money in a proper way. But those little touch points are being greeted when they come in. You're remembering my name when I come back time after time. You're remembering a detail about me. And one of the things we used to talk about a lot too in our presentations is the banks that first started putting the little dog biscuits in the container when they would send it out to the car, when you would do the drive-through banking there. Just those little elements where your dog gets super excited just to go to the bank because they know they're going to get one of those treats. And it's something that costs the bank next to nothing, but at that, it became back about the experience. And now with so much of the mobile thing, I haven't gone through a drive-through teller and I don't know how many years it's been now, but those are the ones where, they're losing so much to credit unions. Credit unions do such a fantastic job of, they call them the members, but how they really approach that whole member experience. And, the banking sometimes gets so big that you just kind of get lost in the shuffle. You're viewed as more of a number, just a transaction for that day to get through. And there's no personal touches. Yeah. So that's really where we bring it back.
The Disney example, I think, is great that you gave, where basically, maybe the other theme parks might have more whiz-bang features and supersonic roller coasters, but Disney is this experience, this magic, this feeling of magic and all of that. How can you apply some of that in your business where people are thinking, well, this is why I go to these guys, because it's a special, it's a different experience.
Yeah. It comes down to training and hiring. Disney, they have specific people that they are looking for, and then they go through a Disney Traditions program, which is all training about the history of the company, what's expected of you, what Walt's vision was. They bring in past stories of other cast members that went above and beyond. So you start to think about, and this is your first day on the job, you start to think about the historical pieces of the company that you're in. But now you start seeing how these other cast members went above and beyond to make an experience happen for somebody. And you start thinking about, okay, maybe I can do this for myself too. And I start brainstorming ideas for ways that I can do it. Then when you're in your role, whether you're on the attractions or wherever you are, you obviously learn the technical aspects of working on that ride, but you're constantly coached. You're constantly getting the opportunities to interact with guests, and you start learning what works, what doesn't. And, you got this just flow of people that come through every hour. You get a couple seconds to interact with people, but it gives you a good sense of how to really interact just with people in general. You have fun with them. You help solve problems. You learn what a lot of the common issues are. And one of the things like you would hear out at Disney a lot is a silly question, but it was, what time is the 3:00 parade? Guests would come up and ask you this because
that's where I would get fired.
Yeah, because and I'm sure there have been plenty of people that have been fired for idiot, but it's 1.5 miles long, that parade route. So it doesn't get to some parts along the route till 3:30. So what they're really asking is, what time is that parade going to get here where I'm currently standing? Right. So you start to understand their lens and understand what they're really asking, because there's usually a piece of information behind the silly question that they're trying to get to.
Not always.
Not always. Sometimes, they're just ridiculous people. But, there are those, like I worked on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. So I worked we were gold miners from the 1800s. So I'd be in my gold miner's outfit with my cowboy hat on, and I'm 20 years old at this point. Okay. But people would come up and ask me if I worked there. I'm just
looking for gold, buddy.
This was just in my closet today. It was next to my Spider-Man costume, and that was just what I wore today. But they're looking for help. They need help to a question that they have.
Yeah. And
so you start to realize how to read people, how to understand them, and how to kind of get inside their mind a little bit about what they really needed at a given time.
It's not necessarily about the presenting question, is it? So, they want to talk to somebody, they want some help, or they want some attention, but it's all part of the experience that you're giving them. And how long does it take for, to get significant change in a company in terms of improving the customer experience from a company that's kind of not really doing it right? How long does the whole process take?
If you're going through a whole culture change where it's company wide there, I mean these take years. That certainly is not just a quick fix. There are plenty of things that employees can do immediately after going through one of our training sessions or going through some of the information that we share here. There are simple things that they can put in, but when it becomes the overarching theme of what it means to do business with us, you're getting all the people in place. That's a 3 to 5 year process to really go through that. So it does take a lot of time, does take a lot of effort to do that. And, the folks that we've done it with over the years have definitely seen great results, but we obviously are aware that there are plenty of people that they're not willing to invest the time and resources to do that. And so that's where a lot of these quicker pieces where you go through these process mappings, these experience mapping, and that's how we can enhance certain elements here, and maybe we just slowly implement it over time. Yep. But if you're talking about a true overhaul, it is a lengthy process.
Well, let's dovetail it to the process mapping. Tell us, because they can get this process started for free on your website, and that's kind of the first port of call. What does that involve?
So this here, it's going to just give you a copy of this. Just there's a couple pages to this tool, but it wants you to figure out what's this process that we want to get better at. And we're going to see it, again, every single step of the way through the lens of the customer, however many steps that is. And then we're going to see what would the excellent experience look like at each step, and how can we now get our team and our employees to all be on the same page, so that regardless of who a customer interacts with on a given day, that every single employee is operating under the same guidelines. And that's the key, is you want that consistency.
Yeah, that's the big one. And that's the one where a lot of businesses, you'll have people in there that have been there for a while, and they're sort of like, maybe like, it's like Cranky Dave or whatever. And, you need to sort of, it's a long process of recruiting, training, and getting everybody on board. But this is the first thing to do, is to map it out. And if you want to start to get an understanding of what the next steps are to start delivering a positive experience to customers, which is just absolutely priceless, and essential and often overlooked. We always talk about acquisition of customers, but we need to have a second process here to deliver a good customer experience. You already probably know that, but if you want to check out what the first steps are, have a look at this resource that Danny's got for us. It's in the show notes. And Danny, your business is called Snow Associates.
Yeah, that's it. And the main website there, www.snowassociates.com. And then to get to this one here, then just / customer experience map. You'll get the opportunity to download that there. But yeah, great company. We've started back in 1999, so it's sitting here getting ready to celebrate 26 years next month.
There's snow business like it, Danny.
There's very nice.
Sorry.
Very nice. Yeah, that's all right. That perfect way to end it there. Yeah, that was
all right. Sorry, I can't resist the dad jokes. All right, well, thanks. Yeah. That was a really interesting episode, actually. I really enjoyed it, and I was interested in what both of you guys are doing, and I'm sure anyone listening enjoyed it as well. Reach out to our guests. They can really help you with some important stuff for your business. Thank you very much, Trevor and Danny.
Julian, thanks for having us. Trevor, it's nice to meet you today.
Nice to meet you too, Danny. Thanks for having us, Julie.
Thank you, and thanks for listening, everyone. I'm going to wrap things up. See you next time. Ciao.